Hello world and all who inhabit it. My name is Stevie, this is Link, and today I'm going to share with you the real world ramifications of ImJayStation faking his girlfriend's death. I'm going to postpone my other videos until next week and the following week, please bear with me, but this is very important, especially because of the audience that ImJayStation has. ImJayStation not only has a history of being an abusive, manipulating, toxic person to any woman who is crazy enough to date him, but he also manipulates his young audience into believing things that are not real. He makes them believe that Ouija boards are a safe and effective tool to contact people that have recently deceased. He exploits the tragedies and the deaths of people who haven't even been buried yet. He convinces children that death is not final, that you can resurrect people and everyone's gonna live happily ever after, and that's not real. He has them convinced that, oh, your dog died? We'll just resurrect it. No, that's not real. Shadow, he's never coming back. No matter how much I want him here, he's never coming back. My great uncle, he's never coming back. All of my family members that I love and cherish that are gone are never coming back, because that is what death is. It is final. And as a mom and someone who has been accused of faking someone's death, I can't just sit here and keep my mouth shut. Shadow isn't coming back, no matter how much I want him to. None of my relatives are coming back, no matter how much I want them to, because death is final. So let's get into my story. This takes place back in 2007 when I was a freshman in high school. This is the yearbook from that year. If we open it up, right there, you'll see my name, Stevie. This is my yearbook. We flip over to the next page, and you'll see the 2007, 2008. We go forward, and you'll see me as a freshman. A 14-year-old Stevie who was extremely naive and truly thought that no one would be disgusting enough to fake someone's death, lie about someone dying to get clicks and views, or to get out of whatever, to get out of going to school, to get out of going to work, whatever. But boy, have I been proven wrong time and time again. I genuinely, for the longest time thought that was just a trope in TV and movies that drove a storyline. There is 14-year-old Stevie. And last but not least, what this video is all about. Orchestra. That is me, and that is my cello, Cassiopeia. I miss her dearly. But this experience tainted it for me. I wanted to be in the Kiss Symphony so bad, or do something to that effect. If I couldn't be in the Kiss Symphony itself, I wanted to do something similar to the band Apocalyptica. If you guys know the song I Don't Care from 3 Days Grace, Apocalyptica is the band that they collaborated with that plays the cellos. Right at the beginning, you will hear one of the most beautiful cellos in the world. I loved the fact that they took a classical instrument and put a metal spin on it. I was a huge metalhead, especially at this point. But let's get into it. So 2007, right around Christmas time, I was getting ready for, my orchestra and I were getting ready for a concert. And it was Friday night. I get home from school and have every intention of going to the concert until I realize my mom's been crying. And I ask her, what's wrong? just to back it up real quick, my family and I are very close. Very close. And I love every single family member I have very dearly. Sorry. This is just, like, I can't even put into words how horrible I feel, even to this day, having to talk about this. But that's why I'm doing this, because I want people like JayStation to see who they really hurt when they do shit like this. My mom tells me that my great uncle, her mom's brother, is in critical condition and he's most likely not going to make it. And she asks me if I want to go with her to visit him or if I want dropped off at the school. The concert is the last thing on my mind at that point, and I go with her, and I will always, always, always be grateful that I did. That I got to say goodbye to him, because he died that night after we left. And he didn't come back. Over the weekend, the funeral plans and viewing everything's been planned, and the obituary has been made. Then I go to school on Monday, and I was not expecting what happened. 7th period orchestra comes around. We have tuned our instruments, we've done our scales, we've warmed up, and we're just waiting to be told what music we're playing in our books. When Mrs. B, that's not her real name, I'm pretty sure everyone can understand why I'm calling her Mrs. B, asks me why I wasn't at the concert. She doesn't pull me to the side or anything. She calls me out in front of the entire orchestra and humiliates me. I explained to her what was going on, and basically she tells me that I'm a liar, treats me like I'm a disgusting, vile person. How dare I lie about something so serious? And the only part verbatim that I remember is her telling me, if I don't bring in proof that he's dead, I will fail orchestra. Do you know how hard it is to fail orchestra? It's nearly impossible. And then I'm expected to go on and just keep going like nothing fucking happened after being ostracized and humiliated in front of all of my peers. There is only one person I know of who never thought that I would be so disgusting, who never thought I would lie about something so horrible. I will always be grateful that she's still my friend to this day. The next day, Tuesday, I'm not at school because I'm at my uncle's funeral. And not only am I sad because he's gone and never coming back, that's something that I have to drive home. He's never coming back. Now I have to break down and tell my mom and my grandma that if I can't prove he's dead, I'm going to fail orchestra. The reason why I had to tell my grandma and not just my mom is because my grandma was paying for my cello. She was renting to own it for me. And I was so close to owning it, which just pisses me off. My grandma, for all of her grandkids, said that whoever, if you wanted to play an instrument, that's the one thing she would do for us, for sure. She wanted to, So not only do I have to tell my mom, I have to tell my grandma who just lost her brother. On the way home from the funeral, I kept telling mom that I didn't want to go to school the next day. But I wouldn't tell her why. She finally gets it out of me, and I've never seen my mom so pissed. I've never seen her that upset before, even when I told her I was pregnant. I mean, she was honestly very thrilled when I told her that, but that was the one moment that I thought would, top it, but no. This is the one moment that I will never forget. because of how mad she was. She told me, just go to school tomorrow. I will take care of everything. Which had me confused because she had to work, and I didn't want her to miss work because of me. Keep in mind, guys, I've never been rode up, suspended, had detention, anything. I was a very, very good student. I didn't get in trouble. There was no point. There's no point to make your school life even worse than it has to be, you know? So I go to school the next day, and I'm honestly prepared for the absolute worst to happen. I make it to 4th or 5th period. I can't remember exactly which period, but I know it was home ec, because I was in the exact same classroom that I had for homeroom, which is room 101 with Mrs. S. She also teaches home ec, and she is the most amazing teacher in the world. When Mrs. B comes in and asks to speak to me out in the hallway, she shuts the door to the classroom, and then she also shuts the wood shop and metal shop door because that's the classroom right by us. And when I finally get to look at her, I've noticed that she's been crying and that she's holding a newspaper in her hand. And immediately she starts crying and profusely apologizing. Again, I can't remember exactly what she said, but I know she said something along the lines of, in the 20-something years I've been doing this, I've never messed up this bad. She apologizes to me and shows me what my grandma brought to her. Pretty much, my mom called my grandma while my mom was working, and told her what was going on. And my grandma came to my high school with the obituary and had Mrs. B hauled into the principal's office to give her her proof. And I can picture my grandma slamming that newspaper down on the desk and saying, "Is that good enough proof for you?" But it doesn't get better from there. It's not like Mrs. B goes to, when we get to orchestra at 7th period, she apologizes to me in front of everybody or anything like that. No. If anything, from that moment forward, she's unnecessarily cold to me and avoids me at all costs. She doesn't tell everyone, like, hey, I'm sorry, it was my mistake. No. Everyone in that orchestra, except for Heather, treated me differently that day moving forward. Sure, I didn't fail orchestra, but it was forever tainted. And going there every single day, I hated it. It made me sick. It made me sad. Like, it's hard to put into words all of the negative emotions that I felt when that was one of the 2 things that I looked forward to every single school day. Because school was horrible for me. Even though I didn't get in trouble, I was constantly bullied and had horrible rumors about me that weren't even true. A lot of the times, especially in high school, I was all alone. Because the few friends I did have didn't have classes with me, didn't have lunch with me. And that was the last year that I did orchestra. I couldn't do it after that. Only to find out that if I could have just sucked it up for one more year, I would have owned Cassie. My grandma didn't see a reason to pay for something if I wasn't doing the class, even though I would have kept up with it. But I couldn't blame her. There's no happily ever after. There's not. And the only thing I could think of why Mrs. B was so horrible to me was because so many other people had done that, had lied about that. Had lied about someone dying just to get out of doing something. That's why this is so important for me to share this story, because people like Jay make it so innocent people like me who are truly grieving are treated like scum. We're not believed, we're not taken seriously. So while we're grieving, we have to deal with so much more bullshit. Unnecessarily. I just hope you guys think long and hard before you ever consider lying about something so severe.